The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated podcast. I am your host, Mike Azalina, and I am joined by a guy who put his trust in me to help him draft his fantasy football team in the year 2024. And unfortunately for him, that draft was rated last by Yahoo.com. Regz, I'd like to say I'm sorry, but honestly, I liked your team a lot, so I don't know what they were doing.
I blame you 0%, just for the record. I just thought it was a hilarious anecdote when I got the email last night. And again, I take this for nothing because like it's an AI generated, like just based on Yahoo rankings. But it was so funny that I got a D and we were projected to be last place in my league. And again, this was mainly because I went off a different website's rankings more than Yahoo's. So they did not match up. And I think that's where a lot of this came from. I did go a little running back heavy, which might come back to bite me. We'll see. But
you never know.
You never know. I felt good about it too. I thought we did the best with what we had.
I mean, now look, I think context matters a ton here. You were drafting in a 14-person lead and you had the 10th pick, is that right?
Yeah, it wasn't a great pick. It was a tough pick. I think I had the first pick last year and took Justin Jefferson, who ended up getting hurt for the first time in like 3 years, which was fun. First time I ever got to have him on a fantasy team. But yes, 10th was a tough spot. It was a weird spot. I felt like I was kind of behind the 8 ball the whole time.
Yeah, when it got to you, there was like your options were very, very slim when it got to you the first time through.
They were. I think I'm playing a lot on upside here. Like I need some guys to like have some seasons.
Yeah.
If we're gonna stay competitive in this thing.
And so what was funny to me is when you said that, like I did one on Yahoo and one on ESPN, and both of my drafts, well, one I was ranked second and the other I was ranked first. And so when you said that, I was like, how the heck did we get last? Like I was trying to think about your team and I liked your team. I there were a couple where I was like, I'd be good with X, Y, Z.
Sure.
I even there were a couple times where I ranked guys in the order that I would take them there, and you ended up taking either the first or second guy based on who was still there. But yeah, you're right. It's AI generated. It's off of their own rankings.
No, this is in no way an indictment of you and any advice you gave me, which I
listen. I don't think it that way.
It was just hilarious. It was just so funny that I had to bring it up. It was just too funny not to bring up.
So I did, like I said, 2 drafts. One. So both, I don't know, and this happened in your draft too because you said it to me. But what drives me nuts about fantasy football drafts it's how early people take quarterbacks. Like it just drives me crazy how quickly quarterbacks go off the board. So I refuse to take a quarterback. Like just out of like just circumstance.
We have differing opinions on this, but I thought with where we were, at least for me, with where I was, it wasn't worth it to take a quarterback with some of my earlier picks.
Yeah.
I have a lot invested in Kyler Murray and like McBride. Like I need the Arizona offense to be pretty good. I need those guys to kind of stay healthy and have a really good year, specifically Kyler. Like we've seen how dynamic he is and like with the running ability, it's like it's free points when you have a running quarterback. It's just how it works. It's just fantasy is skewed that way. But
yeah,
it's like the neighborhood league. It was just too funny to not bring up the draft grade after we had done it pretty much together.
Well, I agree with you. I took Kyler in one of my leagues, and I wanted McBride to stack. However, it just didn't work out that
Yeah.
way. But I got him in my other league. But I said to one guy in the second league that, look, you make fun of me. I'm not going to take a quarterback until at least round 12, and I will still finish in the top 3 of this league, guaranteed. So I loaded up on. I sent you my team. Let me just kind of give people an idea of what I did. I loaded up on every other position,
Yeah.
but didn't take a quarterback till the 14th round.
Yeah.
I took quarterback and backup quarterback in the 14th round. This is my team. I have Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, McBride. DK Metcalf is in my flex. I have Devontae Smith and Terry McLaurin on my bench. Najee Harris.
How many teams are in this league?
This is a 12-team league, right?
Jeez, this is a good team.
It is, because I didn't take a quarterback when everybody else was taking freaking quarterbacks. I got Spears, Addison. Addison's hurt, so he dropped way out. And Goddard. Here are my quarterbacks: Caleb Williams, Aaron Rodgers. That's who I got in rounds 14 and 15, because everybody else was so concerned with taking quarterbacks early in the draft that I was just plucking dudes left and right at other positions.
Both of who could be very good.
Both of whom can be very good, right? Exactly. Now I'm not starting Aaron in week 1 because of that Niner matchup.
Yeah.
In San Francisco.
Now Chicago has like a cakewalk schedule, like a really easy.
Well,
schedule.
I love Caleb Williams against Tennessee.
That's what I mean.
With DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, and and he's got DeAndre Swift. He's got Cole Kmet.
I need Keenan. I need Keenan Allen to be good. He was my pickup of mine. I need him to be good.
Yeah. Well, I'm fired up, man. I absolutely love it. So I love fantasy football. I'm excited. I think I'm actually I'm underdog in week 1.
Fun development. Cole wants to do fantasy baseball next season. He's into it. He's asking me about, Dad, can we like have a team together?
I would do a league with you.
He's all about it. I already talked to a couple of baseball dads, like doing it with their kid. Yeah, I'd love to add you in there.
Yeah, if you have room. If you
absolutely.
need someone, let me say if you need someone.
We'd love to have you.
And I would absolutely do it. I think that'd be fun. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, but like if he's into it, I'm in. I'm for it. Let's do it.
It's a good bonding thing.
Yeah. So
I love it. Well, we've got, speaking of baseball, we're gonna start with the baseball team, and then we're gonna jump to the. If you're new to the show, we every week preview the Eagles game, and talk about guys to watch on the other side, what we're looking for, like a key for the Eagles, and just like mini updates that we don't often get to other times, and we'll get to that. That'll end our show. But we are going to start with the baseball team, who has just won their 5th ball game in a row. Some updates here that are important in the standings before we dive in. The Braves lost tonight, so the Phillies now own an 8-game lead in the division. Their magic number is down to 15. 15.
Beautiful.
I told you I wanted them around 12 when they got back to Philly. That's very, very possible right now. Very possible. As a matter of fact, if they win 2 more games, they're at 13, whether the Braves lose or not.
Yep.
So it's beautiful. The Brewers and the Dodgers were both off tonight. So their lead on the Brewers is 3 games, 4 if you count the current tiebreaker. All they would need is 1 win in Milwaukee to own the tiebreaker. They're tied in the standings with the Dodgers, but currently hold the best record in the National League due to the tiebreaker.
Not just the National League.
The best record in baseball.
In baseball, yep.
Which is enormous for a World Series home playoff. And the Mets won tonight. Or no, they did not play tonight. So with the Braves' loss, they're now tied for 3rd in the wild card. So A lot of stuff, a lot of things happening. We'll get into the nuances and the specifics about the Phillies over the last week. But Regs, it's nice to be able to take a little bit of a breath right now. 8-game lead, top of the standings, own the tiebreaker on pretty much everyone not named the Braves or the Diamondbacks. And in a really good spot right now. 15 games for the division, at least 14 for a playoff spot, probably 13. And I believe that puts their magic number for the 1 or 2 seed at 19 now. So nice to be where they're at, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it boils down to literally one thing for me. In that 2.5 month stretch where they were terrible, they never felt like they were A, going to take a lead, or B, come back from being down.
Yeah.
And I'm back to feeling like if they have a lead, they're going to hold it and they're going to eventually expand it. Or if they're behind, that they can come back and win the ball game. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just the overall feeling. And that's without Turner hitting well and Bryce
Yeah.
hitting well. Like, I know
Mhm.
Kyle kind of came back in these last few games, but like, he was awful for a while.
He was.
And so it's been Stott turning it around, Marsh getting back on track. JT's been just Cody Clemens stepping up, Weston Wilson stepping up, Sosa stepping up while Bohm's been out, which again is like, I don't know what's going on with that hand of his. But I just think we're back to the feeling of this team can either come back from a few runs down, or when they get the lead, they're going to hold it, they're going to expand, and they're not going to give it up. And in that stretch, that was not the feeling. It was, if we have a lead, it's going away. And if we're down, like, we're just in such a rut that these guys aren't coming back. So to have that feeling back, I think is huge. And winning 2 in Toronto, where I think they hadn't won a series in like 20 years or something. It's like a long time. And like, this Marlins team is terrible, but this place has been a hell house for us.
Yeah.
And we just need to keep coming out and winning games. But like, just the feeling around this team is so much different than it was a few weeks ago, even.
Yeah. Let's sort of dive in here. That Blue Jays series, starting with the game on Tuesday, which, like, listen, Tyler Phillips, cool story, was fun for a minute. We're moving on.
Yeah,
And we're moving on.
Yep.
It's Seth Johnson pitching on Sunday in Miami. It's unfortunate, but it's a pumpkin now.
Right.
We're a pumpkin now. So he gave us a few good starts, won them games that
they needed.
They needed in a very difficult stretch, the A
Absolutely.
series, the Pirates series, but he's back to a pumpkin, and that's okay. I noticed that the people who bookmarked my tweet about him earlier in the year unbookmarked it. So, guess who was right there? One thing that I wanna give a nod to is we were both losing it in the first inning the other night, and I did text you. I mean, there is a world of game left, and
You
they end
did.
up coming back and winning,
Yes.
which is wild because I don't know that I fully believed it myself.
That's what I mean.
But
It was,
it's a testament to your point.
yeah. It's just, in the past 2 months, that wasn't a thing that was going to happen.
No. Look, Kyle Schwarber was unbelievable in that game.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
just simply unbelievable.
Just
But
literally. Yeah.
they also, I wrote this guy's name down, and we could talk about him from yesterday. We could do it for his at bat tonight. But Cody freaking Clemens,
Yeah, man.
isn't even here for he's not here for 3 months.
Yeah.
The guy comes up and in his first at bat back has one of the best at bats of any Philly since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And he just performs when he's here.
Yeah.
This guy, if he doesn't make the team for the postseason, might cause me to riot.
I don't see how he doesn't.
Well, I mean, he should have made it last year, but Jake Cave was there.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need another righty bat with Weston Wilson. I think Cody would be much more beneficial as the lefty. He can play all the same positions that Wilson can. I know he had the error tonight at third base. It is what it
Yeah,
is.
but Weston's also a really
Yeah.
bad third base.
Yes, exactly.
He's a
So
really bad third base.
I think Cody continues to give great at bats, like fouling off
Yeah.
all the pitches he did.
The
In
two-run double was
Toronto, the two-run double
enormous.
was huge against a tough lefty, like
Yeah.
against a tough 3/4 lefty. Takes that to left field, like just huge.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. I'm completely with you. He's a guy who has proven himself to be a professional hitter, and that's what this team needs. They need a lefty off the bench like that.
I am totally good with a bench in the postseason of Stubbs, Sosa, Clemens, and Rojas.
Yes.
That bench to me, and look, you might end up. Who knows what's going to happen with Austin Hayes
Yeah,
right now? He's got the
right.
kidney infection. That's
Wild.
kind of scary.
Yeah.
So they might need to have Wilson on the roster, which okay, fine, is
Yeah.
what it is. Hopefully Hayes is okay and
Yeah.
it doesn't get worse. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's able to be there, great. He will probably play every day in left field. If not, then it's going to be Marsh and Rojas.
Yeah.
You might get a Clemens night against a tough righty in the postseason where he's out in left field, and that's fine, especially at Citizens Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do think the kid, he deserves a spot. I've seen tweeted a couple of times that he's like Greg Dobbs, and that's exactly
Yeah.
who I think of
Fritzy loves
when
that.
I see
Yeah.
him. It's exactly what he is. The at-bats are top-notch at-bats. He's every single day getting a big hit for this team. Yesterday it was the 2-run homer. Today it was the 2-run double. The night before it was the 2 big at-bats late in the game. Like he just it's big at-bat after big at-bat. And a positive impact on this team.
And
so
yeah, it's what this team kind of
Go ahead.
needed. It needed somebody to step up and like kind of rejuvenate everybody. I know they were they were getting back to a little bit of winning ways, but it seemed like it could have gone either way. Like I feel like the Toronto series was a really big one. Like winning 2 there, like that team is still a good offensive team. Their pitching is terrible, but
they can hit.
They can hit. And you saw that, and I think coming back from 6-1 like was enormous for this team to prove to themselves that they can still do it.
Yeah. Well, the Blue Jays go to Atlanta this weekend, so clearly that's a tough place to go hit. But I do, you hope for one win there. Paired with a Phillies win, it doesn't matter. Even a Braves loss is an added number to the magic number. So, real quickly, I do want to talk about Chris Sanchez yesterday. I thought we were falling back into the Chris Sanchez on the road situation.
Yeah,
great mound visit by JT Realmuto, who also homered yesterday.
Yeah,
to give them the extra run in the 8th. Or in the 9th, sorry. But after that mound visit, Sanchez looked totally dominant. No one could touch him. The changeup was moving. The fastball was spotted.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, man, if that's the guy they're getting, it's going to be hard to start Ranger before him. Ranger was fine tonight. Ranger was, his velocity was down, but I almost wonder if that purposeful just to
he's kind of conserving himself a little bit
against this team. Like this is not a team you have to have high velocity against. And in the postseason, Ranger only needs to give you 5.
Yeah.
If Wheeler, Nola, and Sanchez are going to give you 7, because you can get a little bit from a guy like Ruiz at the bottom of the. You can get more from Kirkring and a Hoffman and a Strom, Estevez, hopefully Alvarado. So I liked what I saw from both of our last 2 starting pitchers. You get Wheeler and Nola now the next 2 days. And then you get Seth Johnson, who's making his first major league start, and you're looking for like 5 from him. Hopefully Wheeler and Nola can get you through 7 apiece. save your bullpen a little bit, and then you got guys to back up Seth. But it was good to see Sanchez settle in and see Ranger give you 5 shutout tonight after a little bit of a mess against Atlanta
Yeah.
in his last start.
I don't know if you saw, but Thompson said that JT saw that Sanchez's changeup was cutting more than diving. So that mound visit was about like stay on top of the ball, like get that thing moving the right direction. And that's what you get with a guy like JT. He notices these things. He notices how guys are swinging at stuff. And look, they were hitting the ball hard in those first few innings against
Goodness, that
Sanchez.
first
Like
inning, it was
you and I were
rough.
like, this is going to be a long one.
Yeah.
And I think Rob also said something about Sanchez that even just last year, that first inning derails him.
Yeah.
And because he's put in work to like be more in shape, be stronger, and just the mental fortitude that he's built up over this past year, he didn't get discouraged. He went out and gave him a ton of innings and just settled down. And I'm with you right now. I put Sanchez as the number 3. And as much as we love Ranger and believe in him in the playoffs, like we just have he's got to come back from this injury a little stronger. He's just not there yet.
Regz, I'll be honest with you. Something to consider here. Just hear me out. I would almost think about Wheeler Sanchez at home because of how good Sanchez is at Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah.
And then you have Nola on the road. The other thing to think about is, and you're going to get a very small sample size, so hear me out on this. But say Seth Johnson comes up and gives you 3 really good starts, 3 or 4 really good starts here before the postseason.
Yeah.
Why not consider a move to the bullpen for Ranger? If you think Seth Johnson has the this is the hot take of hot takes, Rex.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I know what I'm saying right now, and
yeah.
I know how crazy it is.
I know. I got you.
But I also know how effective Ranger can be out of the bullpen, and it saves him a little bit in that regard. Where I love having Ranger in a big start on the road. Regs, I love that.
Yeah.
I do. But I also love the idea of Ranger pitching in the bullpen if you don't have an effective Jose Alvarado too. So, look, there is like a 4% chance of that happening. I want to be very clear. But I think that you at least have to have your options open because you need 4 starters in the postseason. You need them.
Yeah.
If Ranger can give you 5 innings of 2-run ball, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
there's
I
nothing
agree.
wrong.
And I really do hope that Ranger can build off this year and like not just be 5 innings. Like I think he has it in him to go 6 or 7. Like he's proven it. He's got to get it back. Like that's what I mean. He's got to get it back. He hasn't he hasn't proven after this injury and coming back that he's ready to pitch that many innings. But it's kind of like you said, like we literally started God, what's his name? The lefty. We started against the Padres. Oh my God.
Kobe Allard?
No. Last year or 2 years ago.
Oh, Bailey Falter.
Thank you. Or like we started Noah Syndergaard for a game. Like if you think Seth Johnson can go out there and give you 3 or 4 innings, get through the lineup twice, like okay, cool.
Yeah.
And if you think he's got better stuff than Taijuan Walker, like great. Like okay, great. Let's do that. And so maybe I see it as more of maybe it's that scenario where it's some combination of Johnson and then Ranger to come in afterwards. Yeah. And eat up again 3 or 4 innings, maybe 5. Like who knows if he gets rolling. I also think again, I know that you prefaced this, but we're looking to re-sign him. I don't think it does a ton for Rangers' confidence with how he pitched this whole year to be like, we're going to put you in the bullpen now. And I know you know this. I'm not saying that you're saying this.
No, I said it's hot take of all hot
that's
takes.
what I mean.
Yeah.
I really just want to see from Ranger him get back to like not looking gassed after 4 innings and like the velocity staying consistent and the accuracy coming back. Like, we know when Ranger's off. You can almost tell from the first batter if he's dotting those sinkers on the outside corner, if he's throwing that inside fastball right where JT's glove is, you can tell almost instantly if he's on or not.
Mhm.
Like, and and the other way, if he's walking guys on 4 pitches, it's just like, that's not Ranger. We're seeing he's a little in between right now. He's coming back from this thing. I think you're right. I think the velocity was on purpose tonight. I think he was trying not to get himself too tired by overexerting himself in the first couple of innings, because it did kind of tick up towards the end, towards like the 4th and 5th. He was back like 90, 91, things like that. So I just want Ranger to get back to that guy who can give us 6 innings, like, because I think he can. And I just, we all know how, cool, calm, collected he is in the playoffs.
Ranger, when he's going well, is, yes, very poised, hitting his spots, but he's 93, 94.
Yeah.
And seeing him 91, 90, 92 is what I think he topped out at tonight, was like, this is odd.
I did see a tweet that was a little bit different. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can.
Yeah, if you can find it. I want to say one more thing about the Seth Johnson idea, and I want to be very clear that, again, it is the hot take of hot takes. But I also think it's worth considering, like, when you think about, and I'd have to go and look back at this because I don't know how many starts he had.
Yeah.
But when the Cardinals had a deep run in the postseason that year that Michael Wacha was a rookie and was just so red hot that they just rode him all the way through the World Series. I don't know how many major league starts he had at that point, but sometimes if you find the right hot hand and ride them, then you do it. Like, because if to me, it's like, why the heck not? Like, why the heck not start him in a game 3 if you're up 2-0 and you got Sanchi behind him or Nola behind him, whatever you decide to do.
Yeah.
It's just something to consider. We're gonna, obviously, let's see how he does against a Marlins team. That's basically worse than the AAA teams he's been facing. Do you have that tweet?
I do. Nathan Ackerman. Ranger Suarez this season has averaged 90.9 on his sinker, 92 on his 4-seam. Was right around those numbers in his first 2 starts off the IL, but tonight he's at 88.3 and 89 respectively through 2 innings.
Yeah, it was very noticeable.
Yeah.
So, again, we'll have to keep an eye on that. I didn't see any interviews about the velocity or anything like that, but part of me thinks it was more so, let me get my control back, because he was missing that a little bit against the Braves, which is what caused, because Rangers stuff, when he locates, is tough enough to hit because he spots it so well.
Yeah.
So you don't need the velocity. So that part of me is kind of hoping that's what it was. Let me get some confidence back in being able to locate, and then I'll worry about my velocity a little bit down the road. So we'll see. His next start comes, today is Thursday, so it should come on Tuesday, Sunday. Yeah, it should come on Tuesday. Sanchez will start on Monday, Tuesday against Tampa. So in the meantime, just as before we, no, one more thing, the health of this team.
Yeah.
Obviously the Bohm thing is pissing me off.
Weird.
At this point, he should be on the IL. Like, we need another guy up here. If he can't play, you should have another guy up here to be able to be able to at least sit on the bench in case you need him in an emergency.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was talking to my dad about this the other day. If you don't have Cody Clemens, and that's where the extra guy helps. But, like, who plays first when Bryce gets hit yesterday? Like, you basically, you got to move JT to first and have Stubbs catch.
Yeah.
They're like, you without Nick playing the field yesterday, the whole thing was a mess.
Yeah.
So if Alec can't swing a bat, then tell him, put him on the 10-day and retroactivate him for 5 days. But we gotta have somebody else up here just in case at this point. It's getting kind of crazy. And Bryce Harper might be the first baseball player to ever play a game without an elbow. Period. the guy didn't. I don't think he had one elbow tonight.
Yeah.
The fact that they're getting closer to clinching not just a playoff spot but the division. I am with every fiber of my being, hoping that when they do clinch, they're gonna give guys days off here and there.
I mean,
Take a day,
yes,
sit out.
I really do
I
think,
know that they want the 1 or 2 seed, but, like, if they can go into Milwaukee and win 2 of 3 there, they're pretty much locked into that 1 or
yeah,
2 seed at that point.
I think they are. I think obviously Bryce doesn't want to come out. Like I think he said publicly, I'm not going to feel any different if I sit out a day or two than I am right now. Again, take that for what it is. He's a competitive
Yeah,
guy. I don't think that's probably
yeah,
true. Probably
right.
2 days of treatment make things feel at least a little bit better. But where he is right now,
2
he's
days of
just,
treatment and no stress on
yeah,
it.
he's just not like he's just not swinging the same.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I'm hopeful that they can get closer to locking one of these things down and start to strategically give these guys a day or two here and there.
Mhm.
Because they need it. It's not big things, but little things add up, and you need Bryce Harper as healthy as humanly possible in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like you just do.
Well, the the idea of the week off could certainly do that for him
Sure.
too. The week off could help. And look, if they're already locked into the 1 or 2 seed the week before the week off, then Bryce is probably sitting a couple of those days too.
Yeah.
Um, I yes, all of that's important. And we'll keep a close eye. We'll
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. A lot still to go, but let's just talk about who the other teams in the race have here while they finish up their set in Miami.
Okay.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday left in Miami. The Brewers host Colorado. Colorado just stole one from the Braves, so hopefully they can get at least one from Milwaukee while they're there. The Mets play the Reds for 3. The Blue Jays travel to Atlanta for 3. And this is the best series of the weekend as far as I'm concerned. The Guardians go to LA for a
Oh yeah.
3-game series with the Dodgers. So some good baseball there for sure. The Guardians need to win some games. They are in first, but it is tight.
Yeah.
They have a 4-game lead against Minnesota, 4.5 with Kansas City. So they need to win some ball games. And listen, the same goes for LA. A 4-game lead on the Padres and a 5-game lead on the Diamondbacks, right? So both teams can't afford to
Yeah.
lose uh, or get swept. So hopefully the Phillies can just win out
Right.
these next 3 games.
Yes.
They definitely have the advantage in the next 2.
Yes.
So now I don't know how much watching I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'll have them on my iPad maybe in the corner because it is kickoff
It's that time.
for the football team.
That's right.
It is kickoff for the football team. I am so excited. I love that that like if the Phillies could have just like had their day game like tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I know it never happens on Friday unless you're playing at Wrigley,
Right.
but like that is the ideal Azzy day.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow I'll have to mix. The Phillies will be on for a solid hour before
Yeah.
Eagles come on, so we'll have that. But man, I'm excited. I am so excited for Eagles football. It's a tough first
I'm
week.
so
This is
many
not.
emotions. I don't know. Like there's a lot of emotions that I'm going through.
Well, tell me some of them. Let's talk through your inside out.
I mean,
Let's go through it.
excited is one,
Right,
nervous is another.
right, right.
Um Anxious, like I know nervous and anxious are very close together, but like I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm anxious, there's a little bit of dread in there. There's a little bit of
Yeah,
like pure joy. You know, there's a bunch of variations of different
right,
emotions because I
right.
just have no effing idea what this team is going to look like.
Yeah. So I feel a lot of things too. I feel excitement just purely because it's football, but also because of this all. Never in my life have the Eagles had this set of weapons. I feel a little bit of nerve about the offensive line
Mhm.
for the first time in our lives. As much as the weapons are great, there's some question marks on the line. And I don't include Cam Jurgens in that.
No.
I think he's gonna be just fine. I'm talking Mekhi Becton,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking how many games do we get out of Lane Johnson this year?
Yeah.
Those are my big ones. I feel very lucky. I don't know if that's an emotion, fortunate, grateful to get to watch Saquon Barkley in an Eagles uniform. So excited about that. I'm interested in this secondary
Mm-hmm.
with its depth that's going to be tested right away. They are the one. Now, I'll say this again in a different way soon, but they're the one team in the NFL without a vested veteran on the defensive line. I'll say it now. And they're playing the one team in the NFL without a vested veteran on the wide receiver group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's going to happen again this year, where you match up against another team who doesn't have a vested veteran at a position group.
Yeah.
They're two of the youngest teams in football, so it's possible that they're it. I am terrified of this linebacking group. Terrified. I
Yeah.
wasn't like 2 weeks ago, and now I am.
Yeah.
So let's get into the reasons why. Devin White is out of nowhere on the injured list. Was practicing this week
So I think
and then
there's
travel with the team.
there's two things here. So number one,
Tell me.
not with the team because of the injury, but number two, Jeff McClain reported that he had been passed by Nakobe Dean on the depth chart. Per
So does he want
sources.
to get traded?
So I think another thing came out from another insider that the Eagles had been shopping him, or that they had been shopping White as a possible trade candidate at when like the rosters are being finalized.
See, that's so stupid though.
I'm just saying that's what
I
was
know what you're
coming out.
saying. I know what you're saying, but like we're gonna bank on Nakobe Dean, who hasn't played like more than 3 games in his NFL career.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm not.
And Zach Bond, who is playing the position of inside linebacker for the first time in his career. Jeremiah Trotter, who he can't be on this field at the same time as. And then Oren Burks, who
Yeah.
was the backup in San Francisco. This is not a guy that they emptied the chamber on financially
Right.
in Devin White. Like, you're not tied to some crazy lucrative deal. It's
Mhm.
a 1-year deal with like $4 million guaranteed. So the fact that they might have been shopping him is absolutely mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. I think obviously the injury kind of takes precedent over everything, but it's gonna be one of those it's gonna be the place again, man. Because you know who's gonna like be attacking it?
Matt
This
LaFleur.
coach.
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a quarterback
team,
who's completely capable of like handling all those situations and making the right read.
and well, yeah, he's got the quarterback who can do it. He's also got a running back that can run through.
Yes.
Josh Jacobs is unbelievably good.
Yeah.
So I know, the Eagles really trust the secondary. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to exploit you in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned that we're going to leave tomorrow night feeling the exact same way that we felt after the Niners game. Now, I'm not saying that the Eagles are going to get their doors blown. I
Yeah.
don't mean that at all.
Yeah.
Because I do think they're going to score plenty of points. This Green Bay defense is not very.
Yeah.
They have maybe 3 guys that scare me. And they don't have enough guys to match all the weapons. We'll talk about this in a moment, but I am curious to see how they use Jahan Dotson
Yeah.
tomorrow, considering he's only been here for like 12 days. But my fear is that even in a win, say they win this game, the total's 50. So say they win this game like 28-23.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But all 3, scores on the Packer side
Mm-hmm.
come as a result of poor linebacking play.
Yeah.
And we're just going to trade Devin White? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a good answer, buddy.
we'll see, man. I'm concerned. I'm very, very,
I'm
very
with you.
concerned about
I'm
the
with you.
linebacking spot. Very concerned. Only other injury of note is Isaiah Rodgers. He'd been battling some stuff, I think health, like illness-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to practice and didn't work out. But I'm not worried about that position.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see Slay, obviously. I think we're going to see Quignon play on the outside, and then they're going to put Avante in the slot. Vic said that Quignon is ready to play every
Mm-hmm.
snap, and that he prefer. Well, Avante is cross trained now.
Right.
He can do both, which we have always known.
Yeah.
But they're going to start him inside. If something should go awry, they'll slide Quignon inside,
Mm-hmm.
and Keely will play the outside. I still think that there are going to be different formations
Yeah.
where they do that, where Quignon is sliding inside. The other thing to note, perhaps they slide Reed down into a Malcolm Jenkins position as a linebacker
Yeah.
and use him that way
Mm-hmm.
and drop Avante.
Yeah.
They do have a lot more, and Cooper too. Cooper DeJean could go and play a little bit of safety with Reed crawling up into the box. So there's a lot of possibility. I am curious to see what the bottom part of Vic Fangio's defense can. Like, what is it going to look like at its worst? This is a good offense they're playing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I think
with a really good head coach.
It's a real test right off the jump.
Mhm.
And I think this is one of those games where you're not asking this team to be a top 5 defense. You just have to be passable. This, like, our offense should score a lot on this defense. They just should.
Yeah.
You just have to not be terrible.
Right.
I'm not like, just get a few stops. Just make it a little
maybe
bit
a turnover.
difficult. Right. Make it a little bit difficult. One
Yeah.
turnover. We're not asking for the world here. You just can't be what last year looked like. You just can't.
No. Well, second half of last year.
Yeah. You can't be a sieve.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't be that way.
Which kind of leads me to the question. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's totally opinion based. But what are you more looking forward to? We've got 2 new coordinators debuting tomorrow for the Eagles. Are you more looking forward to the Vic Fangio experience or the Kellen Moore experience?
It's easy for me. It's Kellen Moore. I have wildly higher expectations for this offense than this defense.
Okay.
This offense should be a top 5 offense in the entire NFL. Just
Oh yeah, I think that's fair.
period.
Yeah.
With the talent that they have. And the biggest, like, have they figured out how to address their biggest weaknesses?
Mhm.
Are there things in the scheme and the coaching and the execution that are going to alleviate their biggest weaknesses?
Yeah.
I think, like, that's the question. That's the entire question and answer is, are they able to address the things that they did so poorly last year. And that's what I'm most interested in. That's what I'm most looking forward to.
Interestingly enough, I agree. Like I'm excited to watch Kellen Moore's off. But I am more looking forward to what does this group look like with Vic Fangio. They've upgraded clearly in a lot of spaces. The one place I don't think they've upgraded is on the front line. That front four. So I am anxious and very intrigued to see what a downgraded front four looks like in alignment to an upgraded back four. Because I don't no idea what the other three look like. I don't know I can't call it a front seven because that middle portion of the defense is what terrifies me. But I am curious to see how he protects it. That's what I think Vic Fangio does. I don't know where I heard it or read it, but there are probably 5 good linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's it. 5. Every team has an issue at linebacker in some way. All he has to do is the coordinators put them in a position to not fail every play.
Yeah.
And I think he does that well because he coaches up so well, prepares so well, confuses quarterbacks well. So you've got Matt LaFleur, who's the ultimate schemer, but you also have a very young quarterback. I don't know if Green Bay played the Dolphins last year. I'll look but I'd be curious to know what Vic Fangio did to Jordan Love, or what Jordan Love did to Vic Fangio's defense. I just don't think they played. So I would just be curious. That being said, let's get into keys for tomorrow's game. We'll like we usually do, a key to the game from each of us, and then we will get into our predictions. Before we do the key, I just want to talk about some guys to consider on the other side.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, obviously. Josh Jacobs mentioned. There's 2 receivers, Dubes and Watson. Watson stretches the field really well. I'm sort of hoping that's who Quinyon's with, because Quinyon runs really well, and just let Darius Slay follow Dubes all over the field.
Yeah.
They were both. Dubes was fantastic in the postseason last year. Fantastic. Guy had like 250 yards and scored a handful of touchdowns in the postseason. So definitely a guy to keep your eye on. On the defensive side, the 2 that I'll say, Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney. Alexander will probably be shadowing Brown. And then McKinney's a safety that we wanted on this podcast. We wanted him. And he ended up signing for a pretty lucrative deal in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So those are the guys that I'd say to look out for as we head to tomorrow. They've got Edrin Cooper, who I wanted in the draft, but that's a rookie who if he's starting, I can see Kellen Moore trying to exploit him a little bit with some motion, some matchups. And one more thing before the key. Very curious to see about the Jahan Dotson effect.
Yeah.
This is a dude who played a lot more on the outside in Washington. So saying that he's automatically going to the slot isn't necessarily going to be true. He's only been here for 2 weeks, so I'm not sure how caught up he is on the offense. It would be really interesting if Kellen moved Devontae in the slot or AJ and let them sort of take advantage of matchups in there. There's a lot they can do. I'm curious to see how they use him.
Yeah.
If they use all that stuff.
For sure.
So things to keep an eye on, things to watch. And we'll see with all of it. So with that being said, with the Eagles playing in Sao Paulo, Brazil tomorrow, Regz, what is your key to the game?
I'm going a little bit different here. I think my key to the game is Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat.
Oh, okay.
What kind of pressure can these two guys create on Jordan Love? This is not the best offensive line in the world. These two guys have a lot to prove. And I think if they can have a really good game, it just gives us so much more of a chance on defense to get some stops. And I think their impact is going to be enormous. If they just let Jordan Love sit back there all day, we're going to get carved up. Like, it's just going to happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He'll
make mistakes.
No.
He'll make mistakes.
This D line
Yeah.
has to impact the game. They have to.
Yeah. I like it. It's so funny because I was more excited to see the Vic Fangio effect. You were more excited to see the Kellen Moore effect. Your key is on the defensive side of the ball. My key is on the offensive side. And it's simply this. Can Jalen Hurts handle the blitz? They're going to come.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is the report.
Mhm.
That is what's out there. Teams are going to come. And tomorrow he has the first chance to show, go ahead. Do it. We're ready this year.
That's right.
We're prepared this year.
Yep.
I want to see Jalen Hurts. I don't want to see him scramble away from
Yeah,
me.
right.
I want to see something that shows me they have taken this offseason, have made the adjustment, and that he is going to make a play in the face of the blitz. That teams have to back off of it. Yeah, they're going to still send it time to time and blitzing, but they're not going to send it on 1st and 10 or 2nd and 6. Like, they're not just going to feel like they can send a blitz at any given moment.
Yeah.
And that the Eagles have no response. That is my key. If Jalen can beat that blitz early in the game, that's going to put this Green Bay defense on their heels. And it's going to allow the Eagles to do things in the offense that they're not going to be able to cover because there's just too much weaponry on the Eagles side of the
That's a great one.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Predictions. Eagles are 2-point favorites on a neutral site. They get a quick drive. They're staying at a hotel very close to the stadium. The Packers are staying at a hotel that's about an hour and a half to 2-hour drive with traffic. That was the home versus away advantage. I haven't heard of a fan split number. The Packer fans are Packer.
Yeah.
They travel.
Yeah.
I'd expect something close to 50-50. So that being said, 2-point favorites, 49.5-point total. What do you got, man? Game 1.
I'm not gonna lie. I had a thought in my mind, and then I looked at like the Inquirer did like a staff game by game prediction, and a lot of them had the Eagles losing this game.
Yeah.
I am going to say the Eagles win 28-21.
All right. And you stay just under the total.
Yeah.
Just under the total. I also have a win. I think people are very concerned about the coordinator switching. I've heard a lot of writers say, well, the Eagles have to adjust. The Eagles have to get used to new coordinators. They have to, that's going to take some time.
Oh,
I think we were very scarred from last year.
I see it as a huge upgrade. Like, how can you just not think it's...
I think people thought, oh, they were off to a slow start last year because of the coordinator changes. But these are not your typical coordinators.
Right.
These are experienced coordinators. They're not, well, I shouldn't say typical. They are. They're
not brand new coordinators, right?
And that was what caused the Eagles to get off to a weird start, especially offensively. Vic Fangio looks at this Green Bay team and says, yep, all right, got it, right? Like, that's not anything new to him. Kellen Moore looks at the defense and, oh, there's a hole, there's a
Mhm.
hole, there's a hole. Here's
Right.
what we're gonna do. Um, I have the Eagles getting a late field goal that actually puts them up 31-21, and that's how they win this game.
Okay.
I have them going over. I think it's gonna be a little bit more offensive game.
Mhm.
I think that the Eagles are gonna overwhelm the Packers. I think it's gonna feel like they're in control most of the game. Packers are gonna get a late touchdown to put it within 7. The Eagles are gonna march down, run the clock, and have to kick a field goal to go up 31-21. That's the way I see this shake. But
All
I
right.
think the Eagles are going to overwhelm them at least early in the game offensively. Weapons, new offense, a lot of motion, something that the Packers have not seen from this off. You can't scout an offense you haven't seen.
Mhm.
So you can say we're going to blitz. But if the Eagles have a counter to that, what's your plan?
Yep.
So 31-21 is my thought. I think the Eagles are going to be comfortably 1-0 moving ahead into
I like it.
what's a long-awaited week 2 matchup on
Yes.
Monday night. Don't love that, but is what it is. We'll have to deal with that. All right, man. That was fun.
Fantastic.
Good time. Here's my just really quick fixated. They might lose tomorrow.
Yes.
Like,
The Green Bay hype could be real.
it could. I'm not there. Could, though. We all watched the Dallas game, and I think that has people in shambles. They might lose, and that's okay. Remember, it is 1 of 17. It's a very difficult game to start with.
Mhm.
It's a neutral site game out of the country. The Eagles traveled yesterday and play tomorrow. They don't have to win tomorrow to be Super Bowl contenders. Now, they have to look capable,
Yes.
but they don't have to win.
Yeah.
I think breathe. Don't go too far one direction or the other. And appreciate that they get to be a part of something pretty cool tomorrow, playing in another country, setting a precedent for what American football looks like and is. We get to see our guys do that. Take in Saquon Barkley's first game, enjoy it. Take in the new offense. Just enjoy the ride. It's the start of the football season. They might very well lose. It's a good football team they're playing. I don't know if they're Super Bowl good, which
Mhm.
everybody's picking them to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're a good football team. So the Eagles might walk away losers tomorrow.
Yeah.
0-1 isn't the end of the world. As long as it's not an ugly 0-1. If it's an ugly 0-1, you'll hear a very different tone.
Yes.
If it's 0-1, oh, they lost on a final drive, after
Yeah.
looking good on both sides of the ball for much of the night. I can get past that.
Yeah. Sure.
I think it's very conceivable that this is like a 31-26 or 31-28 football game tomorrow. And that might be chalked up to the fact that Green Bay's a good offense.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that the Eagles are a bad defense. It means that they're a good offense. We have to look at all of it before we decide those things.
Mhm.
Just because they give up 28 to a team who has one of the best offensive coaches in football doesn't mean they're a bad defense.
Yeah.
It means they started their year off with a really good offense. So just something to keep in mind.
There you go.
That being said, thank you for listening. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe in the box below. Share it with a friend, share it with a neighbor. Do the same thing on your podcast platforms. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, whatever. Rate, subscribe, leave a comment, suggestion, whatever. Head on over to social media. Start on Twitter at the Phixated Podcast, at the Mic Drop 5, at Big Rigs with a Z. If you're listening to this before the game, definitely do it before the game because you're going to get live tweeting
I was about to
on
say, can
the
we be
app.
live tweeting on the pod account from Mr. Azzy?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
for sure. I will live tweet
Wonderful.
on the pod account tomorrow during the game. And just check hashtag Fly Eagles Fly, and you'll see the Phixated podcast on there. Then make sure to head over to Facebook at the Phixated fan page, and the Phixated podcast on TikTok as well. Click the merchandise link in the show description below. We appreciate you guys listening. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. You'll probably get a reaction video from tomorrow night, Saturday morning, before I head to State College for the Penn State game. So keep an eye out for that on all of those social media platforms. Until then, or until next Thursday when we come back, we recap this one, preview the Falcons game, and we talk about where the Phillies are. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.